Good evening, everybody. Well, folks, in just 55 minutes from now, 1951 will be only a memory. And to all of you, thanks for your patronage on behalf of the Richmond family. Let's make our resolution tonight for 1952. Let us always purchase suits, overcoats, and furnishings for the men folks at a man's own store, Richmond Brothers. Well, pull up a chair, folks. I've been promising you all week that I'd tell you the story of the Notre Dame-Ohio State football game. I've had the privilege of broadcasting across this nation, particularly from the years of 1929 to 1940, with the one and only Graham McNamee. But the greatest game that I ever had the privilege of broadcasting, well, you know the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame? Ah, what memories those words call up. Knute Rockne, Gus Dories, George Jipp, the Four Horsemen, oh, the list is endless. You know, there's something about that school at South Bend, something special. It seems to lift a player to the dizzy heights of greatness just when greatness is needed. If you were in Columbus in 1935, you know what I mean. About 81,000 fans jammed their way into the Ohio Stadium on the first Saturday of November 1935. It was the big game between Notre Dame and Ohio State. Columbus, the crossroads of American football, was raging with football fever. Both teams were eyeing the national championship. The Irish had won 5 straight, the Buckeyes 4 in a row. The Irish that year had speed and a great air attack. The Buckeyes, however, because of their tremendous power, were 2-1 favorites to win. The first break came early in the first period. Thanks to a great kick by Bill Shakespeare, the Irish of Notre Dame took possession of the ball on the Ohio State 37-yard line. Mike Layden faded back to pass. He was rushed, and he had to get the ball away fast. Antonucci of Ohio State intercepted the pass on his own 25. He ran 3 yards to his right. Then he was boxed up, and he flipped out to end Frank Boucher, a Buckeye back. Boucher grabbed that ball, picked up his interference, galloped 72 yards for a touchdown, behind a wall of blockers that cut down every Irish tackler in sight. The point after the touchdown was good. Ohio State led 7-0. The Buckeye ground attack started grinding out the yardage again early in the second quarter. An intercepted pass gave them the ball on the Notre Dame 45. The Bucks powered their way to another touchdown. Joe Williams scampered into the end zone, standing up behind a wave of blockers. Ohio State dominated the play all through the first half. When the gun went off, the Buckeyes led 13-0. What looked like a close football game seemed to be turning into a rout. We can only guess what went on in the Irish dressing room during halftime. But in the third period, the complexion of the game began to change. Slowly, the Scarlet Tide began to give way to the Blue. At the end of the third quarter, the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame were knocking at the Ohio State goal. When the fourth period was only 4 plays old, Notre Dame had scored. Steve Miller pulled over from the Ohio 1-yard line. Notre Dame missed the kick, and the score was Ohio State 13, Notre Dame 6. The next time the Irish got the ball, they seemed on the way to another touchdown. They moved deep into Buckeye territory. Miller tried again to smash through the center of the Ohio line, but he fumbled on the 1-yard line. The ball bounced into the end zone. It was smothered by a host of Ohio State players, and the Irish threat was ended. Time was the important factor now. The Buckeye attack stalled, and they had to kick. The Irish went to the air. Andy Pilney started throwing one bullseye after another. Again, Notre Dame threatened. Pilney passed into the end zone. Mike Layden jumped high into the air. When he came down, he had the ball, and the score was Ohio State 13, Notre Dame 12. You could hear a hush come over that stadium with 81,000 fans. Here was an important point. But the ball is in the air. It's wide. They miss again. Ohio State leads 13-12. And so the Irish kicked off. With little more than a minute to play, the Bucks had the ball close to midfield. All they had to do was to stall, hang on to that ball. But the impossible happened. Dick Belts of Ohio State fumbled. The ball spun out of bounds. Harry Pogeman of Notre Dame was the last man to touch it. And the Irish took the ball on their own 49. Only seconds left to play now. The book called for a pass. Andy Pilney eased back to pass. Milner went deep. And then Pilney couldn't find anybody to throw. He started to run. He went 5 yards, 10, 20, 30. Then, on the Ohio 19, he was engulfed by a wave of scarlet tacklers. Pilney was hit hard. He was knocked out cold. The clock was stopped. Andy Pilney was carried off the field on a stretcher. Bill Shakespeare came into the game to replace him. The field judge looked at his watch. Now he started to finger his gun. Shakespeare passed. No good. Almost intercepted. Shakespeare dropped back again. The Buckeye line strained to reach him. But the pass was away. It's in the air. Milner is in the end zone, 1 yard beyond the goal line. He's down on one knee. The pass hit him smack on the numeral. That, ladies and gentlemen, was the Ohio State-Notre Dame football game of 1935. Notre Dame 18, Ohio State 13. The Buckeyes were 2-1 favorites that day, but what a football game it was. Well, tomorrow's another day in football. You know, the great Rose Bowl game will be played tomorrow. It's out on the West Coast. Well, being an old-timer in the Western Conference, I like Ray Elliott and the Illinois gang over Stanford. Kentucky and Texas Christian. This year, looks like Kentucky will win over TCU. In the Sugar Bowl, Maryland and Tennessee will mix it up. Well, Bob Nyland is quite a coach. We like Tennessee. Another game, Baylor meets Georgia Tech in the Orange Bowl. Well, Baylor should win that one. Clemson and Miami meet again this year. Our pick is Clemson. Texas Tech and the College of the Pacific tangle in the Sun Bowl. We like the College of the Pacific. Arkansas State plays Stetson. Well, that's anybody's ball game. Arkansas State should win it. The University of Dayton will take on Houston. And being a homer as always, we most certainly will pick the University of Dayton. There were no hockey games on the schedule tonight. Cleveland Barons return to play on Wednesday night against Buffalo. The New York Rangers have acquired right-winger Jack Stoddard from the Providence Reds. Doug Bentley, the former National League star, has been appointed coach of the Saskatoon Quakers. San Francisco and Loyola of Los Angeles dropped out of football today, but officials at John Carroll point out that each Jesuit college is a corporate unit. John Carroll will carry on with football. In horse racing, there'll be a pair of prominent stakes tomorrow at Santa Anita. In the San Pasqual Stakes, Bed of Roses, Palestinian, and Moonrush are the favorites. The other big race is Santa Ynez for filly. A Gleam, Level Sands are highly rated in that one. Looks like another rough year for the American Davis Cup team. Frank Sedgman says he will not turn pro. He's going to stick around. Well, friends, tonight is New Year's Eve. So in keeping with the spirit of festivity and hope that marked this night, my sponsors, Richmond Brothers, have asked me to omit their usual commercial message. In its place, they have two things to say. First, if you're driving tonight, please drive carefully. Let's have no accidents. Second, it is the wish of the Richmond family that you and your family and all your friends may be blessed with good health and a sufficiency of all the good things of life, and that for all of us, 1952 may be a year when peace embraces the whole world. And so, friends, the seconds are ticking off on the clock. Goodbye, old 1951. Let's hope 1952 is a better one. To all of you, then, from the Richmond family, a happy and a prosperous New Year.